What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak about the interesting conversation that I heard between Jason Whitlock and Coach JB, right? And they were discussing this new head coach hire for the Ravens, Jesse Minter, right? And so now with Coach JB had an interesting take on it. Coach JB thinks that this might be this a sign that Lamar Jackson won't be with the Ravens for too much longer. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So what I want to do, man, I want to play the conversation that Jason Whitlock and Coach JB had, and then I want to give my reaction to what Coach JB says, man, because I think this is very interesting. Remember, Coach JB, he coached collegiate football, and he's been around NFL football players and stuff like that. So he kind of has some insight and knows about what he's talking and stuff like that. So with that being said, man, let's check this out. Then I'm gonna come back.
What do you think of Jesse Minter getting the Baltimore Ravens job? And
I think that hire tells us Lamar Jackson is seen his last snaps in Baltimore. That's what it tells you.
What did Jesse Minter's hire means you don't think Lamar will be the quarterback next year?
Yes, right, correct.
This
you heard
coming
it right.
season, 2026 regular season.
I didn't stutter at all. I did not stutter one bit at all. I didn't misspeak. Nope, none of that.
So their September opener, you think they'll have a different quarterback?
Yep, I think they're going to trade him. Wow. Let me macro it all again for you. So here's a guy that you hired. And what is Jesse Minter? What's he known for?
Defense.
Thank you. What they just fire?
The John Harbaugh, their special teams coach. Special teams was his specialty.
Defense. So if I'm going to rehire another defensive guy, and they were ranked, I believe, 29th in overall defense this year.
Yeah.
If I'm going to rehire a defensive guy to try to bring that juggernaut back that we're known for, the Ray Lewises and Ed Reeds and all those teams that got Super Bowl championships with even a Trent Dilfer, as pedestrian as he was, they still won. And then Flacco still won because of the defense, the O-line, the run game. Then why would you not hire an offensive coach if you're so confident in your quarterback? It is a scapegoat. This is an easy way out for me to hire a defensive coach and comes in and says, you know what, we got to move on in a different direction. So they're going to go get another quarterback because at the end of the day, this is a contract that we're talking about forward thinking here. Jason, you're not going to re-sign Lamar Jackson. You'd be committing coaching suicide if you're telling me, Jason, forget the hire and forget if Lamar Jackson starts next year. Is Lamar Jackson going to get another contract? Yes or no?
That's a good question, and that's that. I never looked at it like that because when you think about it, all right. So the Ravens, they play at AFC North. So you have the Ravens, the Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And those teams, all those teams usually have good defenses, right? And so and the Ravens are known for their defense. The Steelers are known for their defense, and from time to time, like this year, I think even Cleveland defense was good, right? So I think the Ravens, it makes sense for the Ravens to want to get back to that brand of playing that brand of football. Even when you look at the playoffs now and you see, like good quarterback play, I think you don't want to be in a position where you just relying on good quarterback play. But good defense will travel well, number one. And then good defense is what wins championships. So you got a coach here, a guy in Ray Minter, who is, that's his calling card is like defense. When the Ravens won their Super Bowl, in 2000, with Ray Lewis and all those guys that they had back then, they had really, really good defense. And so I can see that in the Ravens ownership, that, it's a good sign for them that they're leaning into the defense. I saw there's a couple of defenses that I saw this year really look good, impressed me. Like I like that Seahawks defense. They really, really good. Although the Texans got, they didn't because of their exceptionally poor quarterback play, they couldn't make it, but their defense is really good. So defense, man, and the Ravens are known for defense. So let me get back to some more of how Coach JB is really breaking the situation down.
I don't know. The NFL's crazy, man. And
he can't. He's
the
not
NFL's
going 80 yards no more.
narrative-driven league. He's,
he's
black
not going 80
quarterback,
no more.
two-time MVP.
Remember, though, he was only doing that when he went 80 and scored. Now he's going 30 and getting caught. And then he's not finishing seasons because of injury. And then he gets to the playoffs and he's only won 3 playoff games, the same amount as CJ Stroud, who you won out the league.
Hold for a second, because you caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared for this. And so I'm ready.
I got caught off guard too, right? Because I'm like moving on from Lamar. But when you think about it, this Lamar going into year number 8. So I'm not sure if they'll get rid of him this year coming up, but it wouldn't, I think he's on the clock, definitely. It wouldn't make sense for them to sign Lamar to big numbers, and he's not really performing in the playoffs like the Ravens, would need him to perform in order for them to advance in the playoffs.
You got to get ready. Stay ready. I got to get ready. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And trust me, I'm ready. You're talking about the scenario you're talking about where Jesse Minter is going to take the Baltimore Ravens coaching job and will be a part of a process of getting rid of Lamar Jackson. That's real high risk for Jesse Minter. He's in his early 40s. And if he takes any part of the blame and it doesn't go well if they get rid of Lamar Jackson, and then his narrative is, yeah, Jesse Minter was part of getting rid of Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens over the next 2 years only averaged 7-8 wins, but they gave away Lamar and blah, blah, blah. And so this could turn into his only head coaching opportunity. If you're getting rid of Lamar, get rid of Lamar and then bring in your head coach. Let Steve Bisciotti, and why can't I think of the name of the general manager? Eric DaCosta. Yeah. Let them take all the blame for that. Don't put it on the head coach. Don't put any of it on the head coach.
You just heard that owner talk. You just heard him talk, and you saw what he did. And there's one of 32 billionaires, and they know what they do. This is their world, and we're living in it. They can do whatever the heck they want. Nobody's firing him. So at the end of the day, but you do have to deal with PR as owners, as you alluded to. So the PR for the owner to get rid of Lamar before the hire of the head coach would be significant in a place like Baltimore. So that's why you hire the coach. He's always the scapegoat. He's not a billionaire. He's a coach.
See, and you know what, I like that point that JB made about like billionaires and how they handle the media, right? Billionaires and how they handle the media, they don't come out and they use people like they have buffers, they have scapegoats, like like Coach JB just said. So he'll hire this coach, and that coach will take the brunt, and all of that stuff will go to the coach. But it's not going to fall on the owner, if this guy decides to move on from Lamar and stuff like that. So that's how, they don't go on Facebook, owners don't go on Facebook, and they don't go on, social media, and, they have people who handle that stuff for them. And so that's a good point.
We're just a pawn. So he hires the coach because it's already been agreed on. Jason, do you think Minter took this job if they didn't have a conversation about the contracts and the roster and the cap space and what this roster is? I don't believe this Baltimore Ravens roster is even top 5 of available openings in the 8 opening jobs right now. They're not even top 5. I think they're an aging roster. They're old as hell on D. They're old as hell up front. They have the oldest running back with the most carries in the NFL, and you have a quarterback who's not sustainable in the playoffs. Harbaugh won a Super Bowl without Lamar, And he won 8 playoff games without Lamar. He's won 3 with them. The owner knows this. The owner said, all right, Jesse, I'm going to give you full autonomy. Come on in and let's make decisions on future contracts. There's no way they agreed to, hey, so is Lamar my guy? Do I have to take this job if Lamar's our guy? Are we re-signing Lamar? You don't think that conversation was had between Bisciotti and him? Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think Jesse Minter was in Baltimore and doesn't see Lamar as an impediment to winning. I think he sees Lamar as, hey, man, I can win over the next 2 or 3 years. I can maybe win instantly. I can maybe Sean McVay this situation.
All right, so yeah, and that's why I think that Lamar Jackson will get, another season or 2. I just don't think that there's a chance that the Ravens may not re-sign Lamar, right? And so, yeah, like coming in as a rookie coach or a new coach, you want to hit the ground running, and it's good to have Lamar Jackson there so you can have like a certain amount of success while you are preparing for the future, getting that defense up to par and bringing in your next quarterback. So I think it's, what Coach JB is saying, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense. I just don't agree with the timeline.
And when he was there, though, this was a young roster with a best O-line and run game in football and the best D-line and defense in football. This has since been removed since he's been gone. When he went to Michigan, then he Chargers, and he's been all over since the Ravens job. He is not. This isn't the Ravens with Mike McDonald, who's now in Seattle. This is not that team. Kyle Hamilton can't stay healthy. He's one of the better safeties in football. Can't stay healthy. Their D-lineman, their best D-lineman didn't play a snap last year. You're going to have to re-add him to a roster that now was horrific last year, the worst pass coverage defense in football. They couldn't get a pass rush. They couldn't create sacks. And then you ran the football with an aging 32-year-old Derrick Henry more than any other running back in football, and now you expect him to carry the load again next year? And Lamar to stay upright and healthy with an O-line that has no real bookend tackles? There's no way.
That's a lot to ask. Derrick Henry is old. Next year he'll be a year older. The Ravens defense was terrible. So yeah, that's a tall order, man. So yeah, I think they probably will hold on to Lamar Jackson probably for another couple years, but I don't think he's gonna get re-signed with the Ravens.
There's no way that Mentor agreed to take this job with his current status quo, because things have to change. Jason, you know this. Coaches have taken Harbaugh's contract took so long to get done because guess what he did yesterday? Fired everybody.
Yeah, so Harbaugh went, John Harbaugh went to the is he with the Giants? Yeah, he's with the Giants. And he had, he went in to fire everybody because he's got to establish himself there. He's got to bring in people that he trusts and people who know, like, can't be no learning curve. You got to hit the ground running. And so in order to do that or have a better chance doing that, you got to bring in your people. So everybody, we all know what our jobs are. We all know what is expected of us. It can't be no, I got to get to learn this person and all this stuff. You want to hit the ground running. So I can see why, and it only makes sense.
And he knew that Schoen and him didn't get along. And he knew, like I told you on your show a couple weeks ago, he knew that he wanted full autonomy or he wasn't signing a contract to go to the Giants as a head coach because he wants full autonomy. Let the football people do football things. Get all the people that know nothing about it out of the way. Harbaugh is pure at that, and that's what he wanted. Same with Mentor. You know Mentor's dad. You know where he comes from, the lineage. He comes from football. He wanted this thing to be out and upright, and Bisciotti's the same way. Bisciotti is a clear, transparent guy. Let's talk. Let's do this. There's no way they re-sign Lamar Jackson for another contract, Jason. He's not sustainable at this age right now. There's no way. And he's already shown you what he is in the playoffs. He's a guy I can scheme every year in the playoffs and beat. You cannot have that as a defensive guy and mentor and think that this guy is going to be our quarterback going forward. Now, maybe he is the quarterback come September, to your point. Maybe he's not gone this year, but he is not getting a new contract. And I truly do believe that he will be gone, though.
That make as a Ravens fan, I don't want to hear that, but you have to listen to logic, and it just makes sense, and it's playing out. Like I said, they hire a defensive coach. Defense was terrible, so the first thing he going to do, he's going to right that ship as far as the defense is concerned.
You started out saying he's gone before September. Now you're saying maybe, but
no, I'm going to stick with it. I think he's gone, but I'm just saying he's not going to get another contract. So why would you keep him?
What do you think? What do you make? How does the Cliff Kingsbury interest, how does that affect your opinion on Lamar? They're trying to bring Kingsbury in as an OC.
Why? So Kingsbury had that run with Kyler Murray. You can say what you want, but they're very similar in play as far as how they actually operate. So, and I know for a fact Cliff and Kyle butted heads because that's a fact. Buddies of mine on that staff that are no longer there told me that. And Cliff's not dealing with another situation like that. That's why I even agree furthermore with myself that Lamar won't be there. I believe they're making moves at quarterback, and Cliff is not going to come in and run spread option. He's going to come in and run what he did with Jaden Daniels and Washington and get more West Coast and a little RPO and some things like that. They're not going to run double and triple option like they did with Greg Roman and 32 personnel and get into 3 heavy and sit there with Derrick Henry and him in the gun reading mesh read. There's no way that Cliff Kingsbury is coming in and doing that.
Yeah, like I said, listening to Coach JB, it just makes sense. And I think Lamar probably in him and his people probably talking the same and probably see that there going to be some changes, man. And so we'll see this upcoming season for the Ravens, like how Lamar Jackson responds to, this situation, knowing that some changes are going to be made, But I think though for this first year with Lamar and this new coach, I think they're going to lean into Lamar because they don't, like I said, they want to get this defense strong. But I think after this year, I think the Ravens probably going to bring in a new quarterback. I think the guy who was the backup quarterback for the Ravens, Huntley. I think that style of Lamar and Huntley, the style that they bring to the table, I think that the Ravens are going to move away from that. So that's my take on it. I think they're going to go back to traditional pocket passers, guys who can get out the way when they have to, but they don't want that to be your primary, your primary skill set. Like the guy in Buffalo, he can do that. The Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes can do that. You run when you have to, but that they don't want you to be, like that's. We got a scheme around you because that's your skill set, So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video.